Hello there. Hope your summer has been good. I'm very glad to be back in Dallas, joining you today for this Facebook Live. I went to India for the summer and it was good. It also gave me a perspective of all the things that we have, gave a new appreciation for running water. We have drought in Chennai right now, so that was a little hard. But here we are, and I'm happy to be back. So let's talk a little bit about back to school. I think most school districts around here are starting next Monday or next Thursday, I believe. So are you ready for your kids to go back to school? Are you excited or sad? A mixture of emotions? I understand. I feel the same way. So this is also the time of the year when they come back from school with infections, right? So one kid has it and they catch it from them, or conjunctivitis is running around in school, or soon enough we'll have the flu season, and so on and so forth. So what can we do as parents to prepare for this back to school season? What can we do to help our kids be healthy? So that's our topic of interest today. So many parents I have seen in my practice have this notion that the virus or the bacteria are the villains. So do we need to use antibacterial hand soap or antiviral wipes in our house? Do you send them to school with hand sanitizer? Is this the time when parents go buy clippable hand sanitizers along with the school supplies so that they will always, keep themselves healthy? Is this the best way to be healthy? And if you have been using hand sanitizers and antiviral and antibacterial soaps and wipes, have they helped you? So should we be afraid or not? Is there anything we can do to help our children stay healthy? Is this the only way to use these kinds of things to kill bacteria and virus to stay healthy? Or do we need to just accept that our kids are going to get sick from school? If your kids get sick often, have you noticed that all kids do not get sick in class? So it's only some kids that get sick, despite it being even an endemic at that point. Let's say that in a class, maybe 21 kids are there in a class and 17 kids are sick. There are still a few kids that are left that are not sick. So there must be something to that, right? There is some secret that 4 kids are carrying that we probably don't know. So let's talk about that, okay? When a baby is born, typically, they get sick more often if they are exposed to infectious diseases. And that's the reason why when you have a new baby, we don't usually expose them to a lot of things and so on and so forth. But however, when we get older, we get sick less and less, whereas sometimes even adults get sick often. So what is the key to this problem? So it's not virus or bacteria, but it is our immune system. How optimally it is functioning or not. So that is what decides whether we get sick or not. It is not the number of virus or bacteria that we have been exposed to. So babies can get sick often because their immune system is still developing and they haven't acquired enough bacterial flora to help them ward off these infections or fight them off. The more we are exposed to different bacteria and viruses, the more we become immune to them by the process of our body learning to fight them. And it also creates a memory of it. So the next time the same virus or bacteria comes around, we don't get sick from them. So our immune system is very intelligent, right? It is not artificial intelligence. It actually learns as it goes as well, but more so than something that we need to feed it. Also, the more organisms that we are exposed to, the more we accumulate them in our flora, and that helps us fight against pathogenic ones. So what do we do now? How do we do this? How do we keep our immune system strong? So first things first, if you have heard any of my other Facebook Lives, I've always talked about food and diet being an important component of our health. And it's not any different here as well, because our immune system resides in our gut. So not only just for our immune system, but for our entire body, we accumulate this body from what we eat. So it is essential, imperative that we eat a healthy, wholesome, clean diet. that can help build our immune system and in turn ward off infections. Prebiotic foods are ones that are rich in fiber that feed the flora that already exists. So these go all the way to our intestines and they feed the bacterial flora that exists, that in turn helps grow them or reproduce more of them and creates this a blanket that protects us from other pathogenic ones. One of the things that I often say here to the parents is now once school starts, most kids, even if they're going to high school, many of them don't have access to water. So they're constantly running around from one class to another. They have to go to their locker, get things, and go to the next class, and so on and so forth. And this, unfortunately, is a big problem. We all, as parents, have to insist to our school districts that they should have opportunities to drink water or carry water with them at all times, even. Because water not only helps you stay hydrated, but it also has another function. What it does is it helps move things in our body. So in our circulatory system, there is not only just veins and arteries, but there's also another thing called as a lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system moves things like toxins. And so if we want our immune system to function optimally, our lymphatic system should be moving optimally as well. So water keeps it moving and movement keeps it moving as well. So make sure that your children carry a water bottle with them and drink plenty of water throughout the day, because that by itself can actually keep so many things away from them and keep them healthy. And so the next thing comes to movement, right? I just said to you that movement is very essential. So let your child go out, play, run around, and let them get dirty. Let them play with dirt. Let them walk on dirt and grass, bare feet. So when you actually expose yourself to different kinds of bacteria at different times by walking bare feet in different areas, this again allows us to accumulate more bacteria. And these bacteria will help us fight off the pathogenic ones. So let them play, run around. You know, we all have heard of Pokemon Go, right? So this is almost like bacteria Go. So we're going to go catch bacteria like people catch Pokemon. But this is actually going to keep you healthy. I mean, Pokemon is again another way for people to be moving and getting out of their homes. And when you go out to the park, encourage your kids to walk bare feet. It's helpful, even in your backyard. I know we don't really want our houses to get dirty. We don't actually want them to get dirty or want them to actually carry something from outside. But this is actually going to be helpful for you and your children than not. So even using hand sanitizers, antiviral wipes or antibacterial wipes and soaps are actually detrimental to their immune system. What that does is that actually prevents them to be exposed to different kinds of bacteria and virus, and in turn actually lowers their immune system and not the other way around. So if you think you're protecting your family by using these kinds of things, please don't. You're not. You are actually reducing their exposure to these things, which means at the first time that they're actually exposed to them, they're going to get sick from them. So it's really not a good idea. You want their body to become immune to these things. You want them to adapt to these things. And in that way, their immune system is going to be stronger and stronger. So the next thing is let them be exposed to the sun. Another thing, I mean, it's surprising, especially here in Dallas, right? We get a lot of sun. Our temperatures definitely go very high. I understand. So I'm not asking you to send your children out at 1 p.m. or send them out from 12 all the way to 4. No, but at least expose them, go out for a walk in the morning, or let them ride their bikes in the morning or in the evening for 30 to 45 minutes a day. Why? Because it's not just the vitamin D, right? We have somehow simplified this all the benefits that we get from the sun to a vitamin D, and that's just not it. Of course, vitamin D as well, but that's not the only thing that you get. There are so many benefits that you get by being in the sun. It actually helps your thyroid. It really helps your adrenals. It actually helps your moods. It produces certain kinds of chemicals that alleviates depression. So there is so much to it than just vitamin D. And even the movement, just being stimulated by the sun, is very, very beneficial for the entire body. And we are a planet that actually, wakes with the sun and goes to bed with the sun, which means that we need to actually be more outside in the sun. Especially if you live in North America, we already get only limited sun. We only get a few months in a year where you can actually go out without sunscreen. That's actually a very important point, because when you do wear sunscreen, you don't absorb vitamin D. All of that is actually, you kind of stop that absorption, which means that you're not doing yourself a favor by actually applying sunscreen, especially if you want to absorb vitamin D. So when you're out and about, what that does is it actually helps your body just generally have a very good sense of well-being. And that too because we have limited months of sun exposure. In the winter months, most people cover themselves up, with many layers, jackets, and so on and so forth. We don't have that much sun exposure. So that is the reason why we have an epidemic of vitamin D deficiency. And that's only one part of the problem. So as much as possible, even if you take a vitamin D supplement, of course, always contact your healthcare provider to ask if you need to continue your vitamin D supplementation even during summer. Even if you're very, very, very deficient, even if you're taking vitamin D, you should absolutely go out in the sun at least for 30 to 45 minutes a day. And again, everything that I'm telling you now is not just applicable to your kids, it's applicable to adults as well, especially the ones that get sick very often or the ones that don't want to get sick. So I'm sure that's everyone, right? So because of that, we absolutely have to go out in the sun on a regular basis. And that will happen more if we don't play video games, because most of the kids are inbound, they are homebound pretty much during the summer months, because they either play with video games or they're on their phones or on their tablets or on watching TV and so on and so forth. So please encourage your children to go out and play and run around. And if they're older, at least ride a bike or a skateboard or a scooter, whatever that is that they want to do outdoors. Let them at least do it once a day for a certain period of time. And even when school begins, I think it's very essential for us to actually do that. Or let your kids walk to school. If it's not like 2 or 3 miles, even if it's a mile, I think it's still good. If they're old enough to walk to school, they should do that, because these are some ways we can get more movement in. Because as we know now, sitting is the new smoking. And unfortunately, not only just adults are sitting, most kids are sitting way too much than they should. So this is going to be one of the most important things that you can do, simple things that you can do to help them stay healthy. One other thing that I have to talk about here is treating infections. So once you do get sick, or once your child does get sick, what do? So do you actually give them antibacterials immediately? No. There are many ways of treating infections completely naturally without the use of antibiotics. Did you know that antibiotics, not only just antibiotics, but even ibuprofen, Tylenol, and many other medications destroy the gut flora? So, which means that your immune system is at risk every time you take a drug. There are some studies that have been done on this. It's not just my opinion on it. There are some studies done that actually came up with this conclusion. So which means that we should actually be seeking these drugs only in situations where they are absolutely necessary. But if you are not sure what to do, if you don't know how to treat, we have protocols set for you already. We want to help parents. We want to make sure that you're empowered in ways so you can make sure your family is healthy, you are healthy. So we have protocols on our website for acute infections, many of them like ear infections, conjunctivitis, cold, flu, cough, sinusitis, and so on and so forth. So do go there, and it's free, of course. It's available to anyone who actually wants to take control of their health and their family's health. So go there and download them and keep them on hand ahead of time before you even get sick or your family gets sick, so that you kind of get used to the idea of actually treating them naturally. There are a lot of ways. If you don't know how to do it yourself, you can always seek a professional, and they'll be more than happy to help. Antibiotic is not the only way to treat infections. I promise you. I have lived on this planet for all these years without having to take a single antibiotic. So which means it's possible. And I've actually raised both of my kids who are 12 and 9 without a single antibiotic or a Tylenol or an ibuprofen all these years, which means it's totally possible. I'm not making this up, I promise. So thank you so much for joining me today. I will take any questions that you may have now. Go ahead and type your questions if you have any, and I'd be happy to answer them. Oh, thank you, Tasneem. India was fun. Hi, Truly. Any questions? So I hope the back to school is more fun for your kids and healthy for them as well, and for you too. So I hope you all had a good summer, and I'm going to end this now, and I will talk to you next month on the first Wednesday. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Oh, all right. There is one question now. So what is good for blood pressure? Blood pressure is it's a multidimensional problem. It's not one. Whenever your blood pressure increases, it's usually indicative that there is some amount of healing that needs to happen. It can be because of inflammation. It can be inflammation in any other part of the body, not the heart, many a times. And the body is trying to send more nutrition and blood and oxygen to that area in order for it to heal it. So that is actually mostly the cause of blood pressure, unless there is some heart problems to begin with. So we always have to look for why the blood pressure goes up and where the problem is, and treat that rather than treat the blood pressure itself. Any other questions? All right, people. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you next month, first Wednesday. Thanks. Bye-bye.